Welcome everyone to this video conference. Our today's topic is life, life and level of being. Well, uh, let's talk about something here, some questions to start our conference. Who we are, where do we come from, where do we go, what do we live for, why do we live? Well, uh, unfortunately, even beyond all those studies, all those letters, all those experiences, all those different types of education, is that the poor intellectual animal, wrongly called man, uh, doesn't know something. And more than that, he doesn't even know that he doesn't know. That's the worst thing about it. Right? We're living in a very difficult situation nowadays, right? This is a very delicate and terrible, horrible situation of our current planet and society. Right? Unfortunately, many scientists or intellectuals do believe that time equals progress, which is absurd, right? If we've had the possibility of speaking to our parents, grandparents, or great-grandparents, we can easily conclude that our society is only becoming worse. Right? Unfortunately, this is our current reality. And yes, instead of getting better, we have become worse. Right? Unfortunately, we still believe that we are in an evolution process. Incredible but true. We fall asleep deeply. We haven't realized this inner state in which we are. But still, we do believe that we are in an evolution process. Right? Haven't we seen all this corruption in which we are involved? Haven't we seen all these different wars in which we are involved? All this sexual degeneration accepted by most of us. And we think that that is normal, that is evolution, that is progress, that is advance. All this homosexualism, lesbianism, all this sexual degeneration never seen before. Haven't we seen before all the different types of processes associated with drugs, alcoholism? Never seen before. Never seen before in the whole history of our current mankind. Right? We should remember something here when we talk about life and the level of being. The mass is the sum of the individuals. Right? Now, therefore, what the individual is for sure is the mass, is the government. How slept we are. If each one of the individuals doesn't change, our government, our society would never change. That's, excuse me for telling you this, but that is essential to understand firstly. How the society may change if each one of us intimately, if each one of us doesn't change. Alright? And obviously, when we insist on these questions, who we are, we're not talking about the proper name of each one of us. No, we are talking here spirituality. Where do we come from? I'm not talking here about Norway, USA, New Zealand, Australia, Uruguay, Peru, El Salvador. I'm not talking here about nations. Where do we come from? Spirituality. Where do we go? If we continue as we've been doing, we go straight to the abyss. To the abyss. What do we live for? Do we live for only and specifically for making a lot of money on this corrupt society? only for having a family, which is something essential and nice, for sure. Just for that, to finally die someday. Why do we live? Do we live in a mechanical way, just copying or imitating what others have done? Yes. Commonly, yes. We have no idea about what life is. Due to the reality, due to the fact that we are not conscious people. We are only human machines controlled by the ego, by thousands and even millions of different types of psychological defects that make us the worst of this entire universe. Literally. Right? Anyway, there are different types of social levels. Right? We find, for example, countryside people, business people, different types of social hierarchies, for sure. Politics people, for example. Sportsmen, arts people, and so on. Alright? And depending on the people, the psychological people we carry inside, I'm here talking about our psychological defects, all those thousands of psychological people that take control of our lives, of our destinies. These internal people will attract our external circumstances on life. Are we selfish people? Okay. We'll be attracting from year to year selfish people, thieves, etc., etc. Are we lustful people? Due to the fact that inside of each one of us we carry a lot of lustful psychological defects, for sure we'll be attracting different types of sins, dramas, and tragedies intimately related and associated with lust, in which we are involved. Alright? And if we continue with this typical defect of fornication, sexually, emotionally, mentally, and so on, our society, the destiny of our society, without a doubt, without exception, will be the worst. Something, excuse me for insisting on this, something never seen before in the entire history of our mankind. Of all the different races that have lived on our Earth planet. Right? Let me erase this information. Excuse me. But however, the people, millions of people, bored of all this situation, worried about all this situation, tired of suffering, for sure would love to change their situation, right? But they have no idea how to change it, how to change all those unpleasant and miserable events in their lives, in their destinies. They want to change the page of their story, but they don't know how. What happened to them yesterday will be happening today and tomorrow. Right? So this bored repetition bored and continuous repetition of dramas and tragedies will continue unless we establish a radical inner change. Probably many of us are bored of our current life. Millions of people are tired about their lives. From instant to instant, for sure. This is a society, a worldwide society full of suffering, full of pain. And the roots of our current suffering are in our psychological country, are inside of each one of us, are in our ego. Are we full of anger? Are we still full of lust? The secret engine of everything is envy nowadays. Are we full of the father of every single psychological defect, which is pride? Are we full of greed? Okay. If firstly with correct procedures we don't delete, eliminate, literally, from inside each one of our laziness, prides, envies, lusts, angers, and so on, we'll continue with the same type of life we've been living since not only decades ago, but for sure from our previous existences. Alright? The clue to change our destiny is to delete, to eliminate radically our psychological defects. The capital defects must be deleted. And when the change is radical, we'll attract different type of people. Right? So our financial, our social relationships will be different because our inner magnet has changed. We've been insisting here on this called psychological death, which is about the elimination of our ego from instant to instant. Thanks to self-observation, we should know ourselves sooner than later. developing our self-observation sense, will detect what is causing our current and previous tragedies, dramas in life. And then the inner petition to our Divine Mother, that superior power, that female part of God inside of each one of us, which has the mission, the power to eliminate, to delete each one of our psychological defects, all those insecurities, all those envies, all those fears. We are full of fears inside. But we should detect them firstly, to accept them, and then to delete it. The mental petition from the bottom of our hearts, at the very moment we feel fear, envy, anger, gluttony, etc., etc., will establish little by little, grain by grain, that inner change, if we honestly and seriously want to change the page of our personal history. Right? So by law of psychological affinities, we'll attract better people, more refined people. But if we don't change the vibration of our inner magnet, which is established by the reality of our own psychological effects, it won't be possible, never ever, to change our social, spiritual, and even financial relationships. Now, let's analyze something else. Try to imagine inside of you a horizontal ladder. Alright? This red line represents the horizontal line of life. Here we are talking only about spiritual levels of being. It is not related with time. It is not related at all with evolution, with that wrongly called progress, in which apparently all of us are. There is, anyway, a horizontal line. Alright? This horizontal line is associated with time. We were born some years ago. Alright? We grew up. We got married. We got a job. We finished our studies, our intellectual studies. It is primary, high school, college, university. We got married. Then probably we had kids. Alright? And this horizontal line of life tells us that definitely someday we'll die. Alright? This is the mechanic way in which this current society has lived from instant to instant. But what matters here is the spiritual level in which we are. All of us without exception. All of us without exception lives in any one of these levels. Alright? The first thing to know is that each one of us is in each one of these levels. Right? probably a rich person is in this level, alright? Probably, I cannot generalize. And a person that lives on the countryside, probably his spiritual level is here. Probably he or she is a very humble person, very simple, without all these intellectual studies. And due to that reality, his divine spark, his level of being is higher, is superior than the one that has a lot of studies, intellectual studies, and a lot of money, alright? And that's an open possibility. Right? The level of being, for example, of a princess, and all those royal families. Probably a princess, her level of being, talking about spirituality, is right here, right? But what is the level of being of a prostitute, for example? Probably would be here. The first thing we should analyze about ourselves is our own level of being. And that's possible through self-observation to detect our emotional states, our mental states, our sexual states, to detect precisely with more precision what's the level of our being. What's our level of being? That's the first thing. This vertical line full of level of beings, this wonderful ladder, is not associated at all with this horizontal line of life. Right? This is something mechanic and has no relation with the vertical line of life where we only find levels of being. From instant to instant, there is the possibility of ascending to a superior level of being for each one of us. Alright? But it isn't possible if, first of all, we don't establish a specific mathematical point. That mathematical point is right here. We should learn the eternal present. For our own good and even for a common good, it's necessary to live from instant to instant. It's a reality. It's an entire learning. If we change the way we face life daily from instant to instant, if we don't get involved, if we don't get identified with everything we face daily, and instead of that, our mindset is associated with self-observation, we'll start living from instant to instant, which is the clue. It's necessary to change our inner mindset. We affirm something here. The exterior is the reflection of the interior. If we don't change, first of all, the level of our being, the level of being, our life, talking horizontally, will be worse from year to year, even from month to month. But if first of all we pay attention to our own level of being, changing it with correct procedures, and the first practical tool to change our destiny, to change ourselves, is when we start knowing ourselves, which requires self-observation. This sixth sense of our inner being will know, firstly, and first of all, what is the level of our being? What's our level of being? And then the inner petition, as soon as we detect any type of psychological effect that is attracting the different circumstances of life, to gradually, with perseverance, with authentic discipline, little by little, change our destiny. Here we talk about a certain change from instant to instant. This is a challenge for sure. When we talk about self-observation, in the first stages of our inner process, probably we just self-observe ourselves some seconds or for some minutes daily in the first stages of our inner process. But if we persevere, we'll detect ourselves self-observing more and more minutes each day, our own ego, our own inner states. And again and all over again. Don't forget, never please, the inner petition to your Divine Mother mentally, from the bottom of your heart, when you detect any type of fear, envy, worry, pride, that only puts us in lower level of beings. By eliminating, deleting all those different subjective elements, all those psychological effects we carry inside, we'll feel the change automatically. Immediately we'll be feeling the inner change. I always say something here during these video conferences. Please do not believe me, but prove it. This process takes an entire existence. Don't think that you'll be feeling different, for example, in 5 years. Infinite patience is mandatory if we want to change the destiny of our miserable lives. Millions of people are suffering nowadays without a doubt. Even us need a change, a radical change. Alright? Because our own inner magnet is attracting nowadays the different physical circumstances of our lives. Right? And here is when we talk about learning to change mechanical reactions. For our own good, we should learn to change mechanical reactions. learning to change mechanical reactions is crucial, is essential if seriously we want to change our destiny. Our psychological defects already written our destiny. Believe it or not, our destiny is already written. Even if we feel strong people, even if we believe that we know everything about life, the ego is the responsible of our destinies. If we delete our ego, all those psychological defects, all those fears, all those insecurities, all those thoughts, our emotions, all that lust, all that pride, envy, gluttony, and so on, will change our life and our destiny. And our inner vibration will increase. When we talk about mechanical reactions, we affirm here that when, for example, someone is aggressive with us, probably our answer will be with being aggressive as well. Alright? If a person speaks to us in a nice way, in a wonderful way, our psychology is relaxed. We answer with other smile. Alright? Those are mechanical reactions. It's necessary to change the way we answer, we respond to any one of those external actions, to each one of those external influences. Please. So the different circumstances, full of suffering, full of dramas, and yes, it's true, many times with different type of comedies, positive and nice events, are the didactic material to change ourselves. Because when someone is aggressive to us, is violent to us, we can discover inside of each one of us our inner mechanical reactions. And as soon as we see that fear, that violent reaction, which is mechanical in fact, immediately we ask our inner mother to delete it. Through that inner petition, my Divine Mother, please delete me this fear. My Divine Mother, please delete me this desire of being violent against this person. Alright? And it's magical how immediately we feel the change. When we have doubts, when we are worried, when we feel pride, envy, anger, due to anything, it does not matter what it is, that is causing inside of each one of us those mechanical reactions. Alright? That's the way to change the level of being. And for sure, if we are living a miserable life, a hard life, a tough life, our financial and social relationships will be totally different. But it'll be gradual. The most important thing here is infinite patience and discipline with practice, because only practice makes perfect. Only practice makes perfect. And the degeneration of our current mankind is something never seen before. Mankind of the rest of the planets of our solar system are more than worried because our levels of being totally low. Remember, infinite patience with the elimination of our ego. Gradually we'll feel the change. Gradually our inner vibration will increase, will be higher. Perseverance, discipline with this technique, the one of psychological death, the elimination of our ego, will give us a different life. Always here we affirm that the exterior is the reflection of the interior. All this perversity in which we are involved in our current mankind, all this sexual degeneration, this corruption, all this violence, all these wars, is the mirror in which each one of us should see ourselves. That's our own mirror, right? If we want a radical change in our physical and external circumstances, first of all, it's necessary to change from inside. Right? So, to learn to change our mechanical reactions, facing a nice person or a violent person, it's mandatory to change our destinies. Alright? Also, intimate reflection. Analyses are essential to change our lives. Let's say something else here, please. Excuse me, I will delete this image, this graphic. For instance, a person that lost his job. Obviously, it is not easy to forget this negative and painful situation. That's obvious, alright? Because probably we have some debts. We should take care of our family, of ourselves, alright? We should pay bills monthly, and that's true as well, alright? Of course, in a situation like this one, we get identified with the situation, right? And usually we forget ourselves. When I say we forget ourselves, excuse me, we forget our inner being. Due to the reality. But if we remember that everything in life passes, no matter what, everything in life passes, we should move on definitely. Number one, it's necessary to move on, to get a solution, to send our curriculum vitae to several companies, all right? Virtually and physically, alright? But if we identify with this situation, if we let that our fears, our worries, our insecurities take control of us, we won't find the correct solution for this typical situation nowadays, right? If we remember that everything in life passes, no matter what, even a situation, a typical situation like this one, will pass, for sure, without a doubt, and we take advantage of that situation to discover in that external situation our own psychological anxieties, our fears, our worries, and we ask to our Divine Mother to delete the psychological reactions, all these mechanical reactions in which will be involved or in which we are involved. We'll see immediately, automatically, that everything disappears. Everything passes. But this is the opportunity, an incredible opportunity to discover ourselves psychologically, to know how weak we are, how full of anxieties, fears, insecurities. For example, depressions are inside of each one of us. If we immediately, instantaneously ask to our Divine Mother mentally from the bottom of our hearts, my Divine Mother, please delete me this anxiety, this worry, this fear, we'll release consciousness. We'll release our essence. Because being worried, being scared, being with anxiety will not get the correct solution for our problem. Alright? So at the same time we'll discover ourselves and delete all those mechanical reactions that are typical in a person that lost his job, and at the same time we reflect on the need, on the urgency of sending our own CV, our curriculum vitae, virtually and physically, to different people, trying to find the solution to this situation. For sure, we'll get a new opportunity. Alright? And we'll change our level of being, which is the most important thing here. It's necessary to don't forget ourselves never. As much as we can, daily, gradually, from instant to instant if possible, we should be in self-observation. Alright? Because everything in life passes, even this typical situation. This is a great opportunity to see ourselves psychologically. Alright? So the work on ourselves is the fundamental characteristic of the vertical way. Do you remember that vertical ladder from some minutes ago? We should work on ourselves, because this is the fundamental in life. Alright? It's necessary to work in the great revelry. And it's only possible if we work on ourselves. Alright? To increase our level of being. Alright? So, to transform mechanical reactions is possible through logical confrontation, right? And self-intimate reflection. And at the same time, self-observation and the inner petition to our own Divine Mother. Right? So unfortunately, each one of us, believe it or not, we are as an, how can I tell you this? Like, let's do this. We are like a musical instrument. We are like a musical tool in which every single person plays the melody that they want to play with us. Right? They play the melody they want to play with us. With us. We're only a musical instrument. We are like a guitar, like a piano, like a violin, where they play the melody they want to play. They are our governors. If they want to see us with an aggressive or a negative inner state, they are, or they tell us aggressive words. But if they want to get something from us, probably they will manipulate us, saying to us nice and positive words, right? To produce in ourselves a positive reaction, a mechanical reaction to find what they want to find with us. We are not free, because when someone is aggressive with us, we react the same, in a violent, in a negative way. Alright? We are not free. We don't govern ourselves facing an attack of other person. Are we nice, for example? Are we cool? Are we conscious when somebody is aggressive to us? Probably no. Right? Only the one that learns to transform mechanical reactions enters immediately, gradually, little by little, to that vertical line of life. And the level of being starts increasing. That person is becoming himself a conscious person. It's a challenge for sure. It is not easy. I never said that to you. This is for titans. But it's necessary, it's crucial, it's essential if we want to be free. If we want to get, sooner or later, the authentic freedom. Because the rest of the people are our governors. They control our inner states, without a doubt. They control our inner states. That's why we are just human machines, answering with mechanical reactions to those external influences of life. Well, thank you very much for attending this conference. Have a great day. Remember that this is truly possible if we honestly and seriously feel from the bottom of our hearts that we want to change our level of being, our destinies, our lives. That's totally possible, perfectly possible, if we delete our ego. Thanks. If there is any question, feel free to ask the question. and shortly I will respond to you. Thank you and have a nice day. Thanks, Sherry.